Welcome to
Welcome.
One of Mind with yours truly, Justin Davis, and my humdinger of a host,
Humdinger.
co-host,
You
humdinger of it.
you might
I
as well
look,
just
listen,
say she's got moxie. Like you sound like a carnival barker from the 30s. Okay,
I
it's fine.
didn't, I don't want to sound too cerebral all the time. So, and
Ooh,
that's very descriptive for you, humdinger
all
of a
right.
host.
I love the fact that
I didn't
you
even
are
say your name
really,
yet.
you're really utilizing the word of the day app that I made you
Mhm.
download. And I'm so proud of you.
Is there really
So
such a thing? There
studious.
probably is. Cynthia Brewer, I didn't even say your name yet, Cynthia Brewer. But more important than your name is our guest name.
Oh, yes. Today is a great guest, everybody. We have a gentleman who resides out of Tampa, Florida, photojournalist, CEO of the highly recommended, I love play on words with cannabis companies. Oh my gosh. And trained jujitsu fighter. Can't believe I nailed it. My mouth does not make certain words, and that is one of them. And I nailed it. And I just want to go ahead and call myself out. Joseph Resendez is joining us today on the Marijuana Mind to talk about all things cannabis and jujitsu and
Two for
everything in
two.
between.
There you
That's right.
go.
Dude,
I
I
like it.
swear, I have a
Did
hard
you
time.
did you ever do you study under Carle Gracie? Did I say that right?
No, Carlo
No.
Gracie, no, I do not train under him. Carlson Gracie Jr. is someone that I interviewed. However, I train under eight-time world champion Hobson Mora
Ooh.
at his HQ. So I'm there at least 10 hours or more a week.
Is it
That
same school of sort of thought, as far as, like you might have different in ballet. You're gonna have different school, like you'll have Martha Graham, and then you'll have a different, teacher that does the different
how do
style.
you know this about ballet?
I used to date a ballet person that did dance and modern dance
A
and ballet.
ballerina? You dated
Well,
a
she
ballerina.
she
Let's
did
just
more
say it.
modern dance.
Modern dance pop and lock ballerina. Okay, for the record.
I
Okay.
mean, she was classically trained, but she didn't do ballet.
She get a certificate from her community college in ballerinas.
No, she was a professional dancer.
Damn.
That had to have come in handy once in a while, though.
Ooh, see, you fit right in, Joseph.
Yes.
Like I am very
And that's a
impressed with
pun in
you
and of
already.
itself, right? Here they fits right in.
Oh my God. Okay, too far. See, he took it just up to the cusp and then you have to throw it
I
over,
know, yeah,
bust
always.
through the innuendo door like the Kool-Aid man. Like, oh yeah. Okay, so Joseph, we're really happy to have you on. We're sorry we're
Thank you.
such a shit show sometimes, but this is our shit show, and you're our guest on it. So welcome.
I like this shit show, so it's all right.
Okay. Okay. You are you've done a lot and you've gone through a lot. Like
Mhm.
reading your bio, it's like they could make a movie after your life.
So a few people have said that, and all I look at it as is I'm just doing whatever makes me happy in life because
Uh-huh.
I have gone through a lot, and I don't want to waste a single minute of it. So I just do whatever I want, and that's why I started my own business, The Highly Recommended, doing interviews, as you know, and uh, doing articles, photography, meeting people, connecting people,
Well,
and
contrary to popular belief and what is said on the streets is I am now an amateur photographer because I have a Canon Rebel T7.
nice.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I've been trying to take photography, like a long exposure photos. And I think it's awesome that you're like really actually pretty good at photojournalism. And then
Thank you.
2014, I read that you were diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. You had lymphoma and you
Yeah,
survived.
yeah. So actually, before that, I was born with a very rare breathing
That's
disability.
right.
Only 1,200 people in the world, which now we just hit 8 billion,
Mhm.
have. It's called congenital central hypoventilation syndrome. A lot of words, I know.
Well,
So we
he's a
just say
doctor.
CCHS at
Yeah, he's a
first.
doctor, so he should know. But yes, those are a lot of words for me.
So basically, you
um,
were a born in error where centrally it's not telling you to breathe enough and you're breathing too little.
that is correct.
Hyperventilation. Okay.
Yeah, so
Ooh.
actually, there is a disconnect between my brain and the rest of my body in regards to sending signals. So it doesn't, even while I'm talking to you right now, it doesn't tell my body to breathe. I have to consistently remember to breathe and take short breaths while I'm conversing with people. That's why sometimes I'll talk really slow and people will be like, "Day, Junior." And it's like, well, I got to remember to get the breaths, unlike yourself.
What a
But
dick person who would say that to you, by
Does
the
that
way.
does
it's just
that
that people don't know.
Okay.
does
Don't
that
hang out with that guy.
should we, first of all, should we call you, do you like, Joseph, Joe? Do you have a nickname we should call you?
Joseph preferred, yes.
Okay, so
See?
Joseph, does that even though, so that your body's not telling you to breathe, act like without, most of us just breathe without even having to think about it. It's
Yes.
involuntary, although we have some voluntary control, but if we don't think about it, we still breathe. And that's not the case for you, which is very interesting. But my question, because you don't, obviously it's so rare, you don't get to meet many people like this. Do you have still the same need, the drive to breathe? As if you forget to breathe, do you all of a sudden realize that you are becoming hypoxic and suffocating, or do you really not get that feeling and you have to tell yourself to breathe, or you just won't breathe?
No, actually now I do, I know the signals in my body. I know
Mhm.
when I've been talking too long and to catch a breath. Whereas when I was a kid, yeah, I'd be like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," just drop right to the floor. And like people who don't know that I have a disability are just like, oh my, oh my goodness, did this kid just die in front of
This
me?
hilarious
Like,
kid just started
what?
passing out after talking.
Well, I
Um,
I find this very interesting because I like to hold my breath underwater, and I'm not very good at it, so I'm not good
I
at it.
think you have to
But
hold your breath underwater.
but I
Not
like to do
like
it.
to, must.
Okay, that's a good point, smart ass. But I like to do it,
Thank you.
a while. But so it impresses me sometimes to read these records where people that are professional breath holders, how long do you think that okay, so there's three categories, right? There's people that are free divers, so that they're actively swimming around, very active, collecting things, doing things, maybe hunting fish. Then there's people that are static, meaning they just could lay there in a bathtub underwater, not moving, relaxing,
No
holding their breath.
activity.
And then there's people that pre-oxygenate, so they take in as much oxygen, sort of pre-oxygenate, and then do it. Let's discounting those people. How long do you think that, more or less in ballpark, the longest person that's a free diver and then just relaxing can hold their breath? It's amazing.
Do you know the
I,
answer to this? And you're just asking him because he has a breath.
I'm
Because
asking
he's
you.
oh
I'm putting
me?
you on the spot. I'm not going to put Joseph on the spot.
Oh,
oh, okay.
okay.
'Cause
They're
I'm
guests.
First
like,
of
No,
all,
you can both
I
guess.
got this,
You can both
Joseph.
guess.
Don't you worry. I thought he was exploiting
thank you.
your like disability you were born with.
This is
First of
just
all,
a
and
trivia
asking you how long
question.
you could hold your breath underwater. First of all, I don't know how long I can hold my breath, but I know that if you pre-oxygenate and you take in just pure oxygen, like in a
Mhm.
mask, you can hold your breath for an obscene amount of time because your blood is just coursing with pure oxygen. And then the people that are like free divers and doing activities, I would think that if you're being active, your body and your blood is going to require more
Right.
oxygen to be able to do activities.
So
So
that's
I
going
would
to be
think
the
you'd be able
shortest
to
amount of
hold your
time.
breath the most if it was not altered by a ability to take in pure oxygen in a bathtub. The longest.
Well, no,
25
right,
minutes,
right.
1,000 minutes. What's the answer, Justin? We
The
are
answer,
still
the
off
answer is
topic.
that free divers can do it for the records are over 7 minutes, which is incredible. If you think about how
Eh,
long could you hold your breath, that's a long time, over
I
7 minutes.
smoke a lot of weed.
People that are doing it like just in a pool or a bathtub or whatever can do it for, the record is now I think over 15 minutes, which is
And those
again,
people need
Wow.
to get hobbies and go make friends
and in the
and
mid
maybe
20
play.
minutes if you pre-oxygenate, which is just
Yes.
hard. But yes, you were right on that one. But can you imagine? So my question, because I try to hold my breath and I can't get past, like maybe 2 minutes at the best. And that's if I'm super relaxed and I've been doing it. And I'm
I
like,
can't
how do they
believe
do
you're a
it? Because
grown
I
ass
have,
man that
it's like I
times
have to
this.
come up and I have to breathe. And people that tell you about it say, well, they can do it because if you can train your brain to get past that need to breathe, or you feel like you're going to die if you don't breathe, and you can get past that,
Full
that from there
circle.
you can move on and you can actually get in a relaxed state. And they train themselves to do that.
Let's tie this in, because your brain has already
Right.
turned off that switch where
Yeah.
it does not feel that necessity, that like angst to breathe. Do you think you can hold your breath underwater for longer than other people?
That's my
This is,
question. Yes,
it may
absolutely.
have
She
taken
nailed
a
it.
while to get
Nailed it
here, but
again.
now I'm here with him.
She nailed it
And
again.
it's actually kind of cool to think about. And you might not have tried it before.
Actually, we have.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so there was a conference, 2007, or I'd say, and there was a conference with a few of us because there's only like maybe 20 adults with CCHS that were actually born with it, and that's, I'm talking in the entire United States. And we all got together, and a few of us did hold our breaths underwater, and I think one person was almost up to 3 minutes. I did 2 minutes and like 30 seconds or something.
And then
And yeah,
and then what happened?
we just came up and took a breath.
Because you were like, I better do it or else maybe something bad
Yeah,
will happen. But did you feel like you
yeah.
needed to, or you just told yourself, I better do it?
No, it was the second. It was the latter. It
It was
was
the
more like,
angst.
I think, yeah, it was more like, I think I should get up there and take a breath sooner or
But
later.
you didn't feel like you absolutely had to. You just really
No,
told your, that's pretty
That's
yeah.
interesting.
dangerous. You
Well,
shouldn't be
except for
encouraging
people,
that behavior,
but
Justin.
people do it, but professionals do it for inordinate amount of time, like
Who's a
crazy
professional
amount of,
breath holder? And why are
but
these people
Well,
professionals?
well, divers. That's why he was
Oh,
bringing up the
I'll
divers.
allow it. I'm going to allow the diver. I forgot about them.
but
Okay,
there's
so I
people
want
that
to,
are just okay. One, do you think that you could do it longer if you were maybe perhaps using medicating with marijuana?
No.
ooh,
Oh no.
can you smoke weed
No.
underwater
Can you smoke weed
in
The
a
underwater?
answer is
snorkel?
yes, because the mermaids at Wiki Wachi drink Cokes underwater. So you can drink a
Wait,
Coke
what?
underwater. You can smoke.
Dude,
They drink Cokes underwater. You're not
there's
too
no
far
answer
away
for
from
that
Wiki
question when
Wachi.
you
You're in
say
Yeah.
what?
Canada.
Wait, what? The answer, there's no answer. So yeah, Justin and the mermaids, since we've transitioned there. But I know they can do amazing things, Justin. The one thing I was really impressed with, besides the fact now that you can hold your breath for an obscene amount of time, which if we could make money off of this, I'll be your manager.
Thank you.
The other side is you have photographed a bunch of celebrities in your time as a photojournalist, and one of
Yeah.
them used to govern the great state of Florida, Mr. Rick Scott, and then also Ralphie May and Hank Williams Jr. Is that
Wow.
correct?
You did do some
Dude,
research.
I'd always do
You
my
caught me
homework.
with that Rick Scott one. Wow. So yeah. All right. I got offered $1,000 to when I had to go to the governor's ball and do that photo shoot. I got offered $1,000 to throw a shoe at him. Definitely did not do that. Don't worry. Was not going to risk a
I don't
lifetime
worry
in
at all.
jail.
I'm just, I
Yeah.
want to know
Who
where this
offered?
money is
Are you
being
allowed to
sourced
say who
from.
offered you $1,000 to throw a shoe at him?
I have no idea, but
That's not very much money that it could have ended your career and gotten you
Yeah, no, that
arrested.
could have been actually really bad for him.
yeah, what if I would have done that? But luckily I didn't, and luckily at the time I was young and not dumb, and I went up there and I did the photo shoot. But his security though, they did take apart my camera, everything, like just basically patted me down right in front of him, and then they allowed me to take the photos. Then Ralphie May, I did photos
Famous
for him.
comedian.
Yep, I did photos for him before he passed away down in Punta Gorda for his Netflix tour. And I got that opportunity through a mutual friend, Johnny B, who is a local comedian in Tampa. So he helped me establish that relationship, and I took it from there. And as you saw, I did the photo shoot there. He was a lot of fun. Um, a lot more fun than he portrays himself on stage. I mean, if you think his what he says on stage is outrageous,
No,
and oh well, I
I
think some of
saw
those stories.
I saw Tom Segura the day after Thanksgiving in Melbourne.
What?
Yeah, it was, oh my gosh, I had the tickets forever, and it was such a
Where
good,
was my invitation?
well, dude, like,
Yeah.
first of all, the tickets, like, I had them for forever. They were at the King Center in Melbourne, and it was like watching stand up in a gymnasium where you're about to get a sex ed class from high school. Like it was all like no cup holders. You couldn't even have your phone out. If they saw you with your phone in your hand, they would just kick you out. Like no videos, no phones, no texting, nothing. You just sit there with your cocktail and your popcorn or whatever, and there's no cup holders, and you're sitting there waiting for the comedian to come on. And then once he's on, like you're laughing, but he's not as bad as like Big J. Big J is he's not for everyone.
Right.
Big J Ogerson. And then Bert Kreischer is gonna be in Orlando. I'll go see him. But like I love the dark comedy. I love the dirty comedy. They're hilarious.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, he had some people shocked because Pinagota is a bunch of retirees. And
Yes.
then Hank Williams Jr., I was hungover for yeah, because that was during the time I was going through cancer, which like we brought up earlier, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage
Mhm.
3. I dropped down to 108. Had to go through chemo and no radiation for about a year and whatnot, and that sucked.
How old were
But
you when that happened?
24.
24.
after
Okay.
that.
Damn.
And
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
that? Just what how did you know that something was wrong?
Actually, July of 2013, July
Mhm.
4th, I oh no, sorry, July 4th, 2014.
2014.
Yes,
Don't worry. I've got
I,
all your medical records memorized. It was 2014.
all right. So, um, my
Stalker.
grand, I was, yeah, a little, it's all right.
I know. I'm sorry.
That's good. That's actually good research and reporting. But however, I was having bad heart pain, and I almost crashed my car driving. So I just drove up to the ER, and they told me that I had cancer. And it was actually a friend of mine who was a nurse told me. So I thought she was lying, and I'm like, "You're full of shit. Like I'm leaving," and she's like, "No, like you need to call your parents. You do have cancer. We can't let you leave." And so I started treatment. And when I started to get better, I did that photo shoot. Right after I beat it, I do believe, if I'm getting my time frame correctly. And I was really hungover. And I told my mom because I had an extra ticket. And I'm like, "Hey, mom, you're a big country fan. I got tickets to Hank Williams Jr. I got tickets to um, Charlie Daniels
Hmm.
and Reba McEntire.
Rest
Let's
in
go."
peace,
Yeah.
Charlie Daniels. Not Reba. I think she's still alive.
No, she's still alive. And Hank Williams. And I took her. I took her
Mhm.
backstage and everything. And my mom's the type of lady who stays inside all the time.
Uh-huh.
I say she's boring, but hey, to each their own.
That's
And
I
she
think she's
is.
boring and but like
I
everyone's
love,
mom's different.
yeah, I love her to death, but she's very boring. And I took her to the event and I got her backstage, and it was funny because on stage the curtains
Uh-huh.
pretty much block the people that are allowed to hang out, and she stepped past that curtain and while Hank Williams was playing. So she ended up getting escorted off by security. So I'm out in the crowd and I'm zoomed in to the stage doing my thing. And that's when I saw this all go down. So here I go. I got to go right back to the stage. And there she is. She's not even in general admission. She's just like off to the side of general admission. And she's like, "I'm afraid to go back." And I'm like, "Don't be afraid. You're fine. Just come with me. Don't do it again, please. And I
Oh,
got you. Let's go."
Now,
So
she
was
I
sounds
got her
she
like a
just
backstage.
cool lady. You
was
should
she
give
just
her some more.
being
Oh,
clueless, or did she
super
want to
cool.
go, hug Hank Williams Jr.?
No,
She
no,
barely stepped out.
very, yeah. It was like maybe an inch past. She was just very excited to be there. And yes, let me clarify, she's a very cool mom.
Yes.
Definitely cool. Uh, um, but yeah, she wasn't trying to run out there and be one of those crazy fans and be like, I
Fangirl.
love you. Oh my
Take her
God.
top off and start
Yeah.
dancing on the stage like
I
some
hope
of
not.
parents do from time to time. Shout out, mom. Um, I've
Well,
No,
got
that
a
no, we're on
explains
question.
a
that
lot.
subject.
So I love the fact that you the photojournalism side of you, but also let's get into Justin's favorite topic, which is going to be your experience with the, go ahead, jujitsu.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
feel like I'm
totally
on a
dropped the
weird
ball on
episode of
that one.
Sesame Street.
what
Yeah,
But
you set him
what
up for
first,
that too.
what
I think
belt
we
are
should
you?
let's go through the panel and say, who is your favorite jujitsu fighter? I'll start with you, Dr. Davis.
It would have to be, Carlos Gracie.
You just made that up because you had that written down as a trainer, so that doesn't count. Okay, Joseph, your
No,
turn.
he brought it. He's the one that brought
He
it to
brought it.
Brazil from, like, it was it Japan, and then it kind of migrated to Brazil, and he was like the father of it. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
so you are correct. I did come from Japan. I can't remember his name, but um, and I, Professor, and anyone else who sees this, I do apologize. Like I tell everyone, I just train it. However, it is Helio Gracie and Carlson Gracie who ended up bringing the sport into basically to brought it to the world, and they created Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Who's your favorite fighter?
Mine?
Yeah,
Oh man.
you're the guest. We get to ask you questions. I'll say mine at the
Yes.
end.
So one of them is there's a bunch, but all right, I'll run through them.
Just
So
one,
Hinato can, oh,
two.
all
I'll
right,
let you have
Jeff,
two.
Give him
all right,
three.
Jeff. Oh, okay, thank you. So Jeff Glover, Hinato Kanoto, and Mikey Musumeci are three of my favorite jujitsu
If
people
if you
that I
could
like to watch.
if you could fight like one of them, which one would it be? If you could just
um,
download their fighting skills into you.
Oh, Jeff Glover. I already try to like, I already train, or my style is already pretty much sort of similar to his or
Mhm.
based off of his. He was one of the first people that I got into looking, but my jujitsu, I pretty much try to do a mixture of like his very leisure style, but mixed with my professor, because I train under Hobson for a reason. He is someone that I try to focus my jujitsu and get it around, more idolized around his style of flow in a sense, because it is very fast and fluid. But I'm not as fast as him or fluid as him. I like to take a very lazy, leisure, um, like slow approach to training as well as rolling. So when I roll, I typically like to put myself into situations that most people wouldn't want to, just to
Submissive.
see if I can, yeah, just so that way I could see if I can get out of it and whatnot.
He's a
And
challenge fighter. So he likes to put a challenge in front of himself and make him look like he's weaker than his opponent. I'm ready to tell you
well,
my favorite
not
fighters.
that I'm good.
Hey, it's okay if you're good. You can say you're good. I
But I
like
want to know.
Nate Diaz a lot.
Oh,
I'm a Nate
You like
Diaz fan.
Nate?
I like Anderson, the Spider Silva.
All
Like,
right.
I'm sorry. So Nate Diaz 2016, Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Straight
That
up
was a
that's
great one. I mean,
boom.
it was.
Knocked
I'm
him
just
flat.
saying that was probably now Anderson Silva. That's a little bit more of a throwback, but that I mean, I would say he's probably the best striker of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
Anderson
much so.
Silva, the Spider. Now I think they called Nate Diaz because he has a brother that also fights. He's older than him. I think his name was Nick, so
Nick.
it's like Nick and
Yeah.
Nate. But Nate Diaz, his nickname was like Octopussy or something like that. And then we got Anderson Silva, who's the Spider. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think Nate should just go by Nate Diaz. But I used to really be into like watching UFC and MMA and Muay Thai fighting and jiu-jitsu and all of that. But then it got really expensive to keep pay-per-viewing things when I
Well,
was
it's
like
expensive to
younger.
train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I wasn't planning on training. I just liked watching people fight.
And
Like,
all of those fighters made it to the World Series, right?
yeah, and they scored the most touchdowns in all of the curling tournament.
I
Yes.
had a feeling.
Sports. Sports again. I love football more than anything, NFL football.
Okay.
But I will say that I did dabble for a little bit in the UFC enthusiasticness of my early 20s. But I really am impressed with that style of fighting. It takes a lot of discipline. And I kind of feel like it's like this is a version of like Joe Rogan, because he used to like host UFC, and then we have like a jiu-jitsu fighter on, so it's like we're almost kind of there. And we smoke weed. I'm just saying, like
I like it.
let's talk about Elevated Grapplers, which is the first cannabis friendly jiu-jitsu tournament in history.
Yes. Wouldn't say history.
I'm pretty sure of all time.
In Florida? Yeah.
Of all time ever. Okay, we'll say in
All right.
Florida.
Thank you. Yeah, in Florida. But yeah, so I got that idea because I've been training since 2012 and I've been smoking just as long. And I've just been wanting to combine both lives. And then I still do, I go out to High Rollers, which is the original cannabis friendly jiu-jitsu tournament out in Las Vegas. And that's where they're just based at. And so I would go out there and they're all my friends out there. Anyone that goes out to Vegas, check them out.
High
Tell
Rollers,
them that.
everyone. Shout out High
Yep.
Rollers in Vegas.
Yes,
Big
tell
time.
them big time. Tell them highly recommended sent you. But
I like his shameless plugs. He's fitting right in.
no,
But this one's for Florida, right?
Yeah, correct. So I got an opportunity. I was at the Hemp Mansion. A friend of mine that I met through LinkedIn called V. Veronica, I can't remember her last name, but she's a cannabis writer. She's Buds and Breakfast, I do believe. Oh, V, I'm so sorry if you watch this, but
she's gonna see all of this.
Yeah, she connected me because I told her to hit me up anytime she comes into the areas, and she did. So we connected over at the Hemp Mansion, and the Hemp Mansion did their research on me, and they're like, "Hey, you do jujitsu?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do jujitsu. I've been doing jujitsu a long time. It's my life. What's up?" And they're like, "Great, we love it." And I'm like, "Okay, can I do a jujitsu tournament here?" And they're like, "No, the house is closed off." And I'm like, "All right, what about the outside of the mansion?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead."
So you actually hold tournaments outside of a mansion that you cannot enter?
Could not, yeah.
Could not, but now you can?
No, so now it's a different location. Now it's a different location.
Okay, Nancy, teacher, slow down.
Just trying to grasp it.
But yeah, so I had that tournament in September. We had John Combs versus Sebastian Rodriguez, which is, by the way, I got permitted to do that tournament 45 days before it actually held. Like, if we would have had this interview like a month ago, I could have said everything in exact details how that turned out. But it turned out to be I had 45 days to pull this off. And I got let go from my shitty 9-to-5 job that I was barely working at anyways. And I'm like, all right, let's just go all in on this. And I did. And all the sponsors finally finished signing up maybe 2.5 weeks out. And then all the fighters signed up a week out. And then the spectators did not sign up until like the day before and the day of. So
it was like
2 days.
a pop-up jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah,
Like,
but I was promoting this like since I had the go ahead. So like
oh,
people could sign up and like do everything like early on. No one did until like very last minute. So 24 hours, 48 hours before, it
Mhm.
looked like no one signed up and no one was going to show up. I was freaking out because I had all these vendors like going to be showing up, and all I had was just the super fights that agreed. Only the super fights agreed like a week and a half prior to the actual event itself. And I'm just like, ooh,
well, you
so
pulled it
much.
off.
Yeah, I did.
And what was the
Thankfully,
attendance in the end?
200 or so. Yeah,
Okay.
200.
I've got a question.
So talk to me.
If you could fight anybody that's not an actual jujitsu fighter, like I'll say in history, who would you fight?
Oh shit.
In
All right,
history.
the
It doesn't
person.
necessarily have to be a bad guy. Just want
No,
to know
there
who
is
you would fight.
there is someone that I'm really determined to roll with and compete, but I cannot say their name.
Okay, how about this famous person? We'll just say a famous person.
No, it is a famous
Oh,
person.
Why can't you say their
But
name?
just because I've been already, we're connected through my disability,
Mhm.
and I've already made it very
okay.
clear.
Then
that
who's
I'm
your second choice?
Mario
Wait.
Lopez. Thank you
Okay.
for asking.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love
And I'm
Mario.
already
It's
working on it.
worth the wait. Justin, any person in history for all of time that you could fight in the ring and you think you could take him, who would it be?
Oh, whoa.
Albert
Oh, yeah, I could
Einstein.
definitely take
You
Mario
answered the
Lopez.
question. Justin, what's your turn?
Albert Einstein.
Why would you fight Albert
You said
Einstein?
it because I could
Okay,
take
you know
him.
what? You're
Who am I
right.
going to be? I
No
mean, I'm not
judgment.
going to pick Genghis Khan. He would chop me up with a
You
sword.
don't know that.
He
You
would
don't
chop
know
me
that.
up. He would
He
chop
would
me.
probably chop us up. So, I
Yeah,
Oh,
mean,
he would chop us
okay.
up.
So we do know that.
And then he
Okay.
would probably eat part of me.
probably
Yeah.
going to historical records.
And we're pretty confident that Einstein won't do those, right?
He seems like a
Yeah,
nice guy. I think I could take
very
him.
nice guy. I don't think he could take a punch.
Okay.
Einstein, I don't think so.
I pick Colonel Sanders.
You pick Colonel Sanders?
Yeah,
You
I do.
picked the Colonel?
I feel like he would be slow
Listen,
because of the chicken and the fried food, the fats. And as
you
long
look
as I'm like
scrappy.
bobbing and weaving, he's probably
Yeah,
just going to be a pivoter, you know,
I think you could
Is
take him, but
or
I
Mike
think he would give
Tyson.
you a
is this
fight.
going to be filmed?
Oh,
Is
Mike
this going to be
Tyson. I
filmed?
could take Mike Tyson in the ring any day.
Because if
it
it's
Not
definitely has to
filmed,
be
I'm going to
filmed.
change my answer.
okay. Go ahead.
It
It
definitely
is
has to
Phil.
be filmed.
It's broadcast.
I'm gonna choose Minute Bull.
Who?
What?
Minute
Who?
Bull.
Yeah,
Menudo?
who the hell?
Minute Bull.
Who's that?
Yeah.
No one's gonna watch it.
Look at that. I know something
It's
that
a
you don't know about
televised fight
sports.
against
Uh,
you and a
He's
celebrity,
a
and you pick
basketball
somebody
player.
that nobody knows.
He's a basketball player.
who watches
You mean Michael
basketball?
Jordan,
No.
Jet Left
I
Shrimp,
wouldn't, no.
Gary Payton? I don't
Minute Bull.
know. Just name one that we know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll have to go. It's worth a Google, but I don't think he's going to show. I think you're more
Yeah.
likely to fight Einstein at this point.
No,
Yeah.
because nobody's gonna like be that impressed if you beat Einstein and they're gonna be against
won't.
you. You know, you punch
I don't
Einstein.
know.
You just
Theory
punched
of
Einstein.
relativity,
Nice
like,
going.
That's rude. Yeah, you shouldn't be punching
Yeah,
people that are
Right.
more.
But
I can see.
Minute Bull, on the other hand, first of all, it'd be a spectacle because he's like, you know, like 7'7"
When
or
was the
something
last time you
ridiculous.
watched basketball? Like, I'm starting to think this may
I'm
have
still
been like
rooting
one
for
of the
Alvin
original.
Iverson.
Allen
Alvin-
Iverson. Okay. We can get on board with. Still say Kobe. Poor taste.
Oh, yeah.
I think I could totally take Mike Tyson because I know he
Wow.
smokes a lot of weed, and I know his combos, like
Yeah.
like right hook to the stomach, right uppercut to the face, like his 1-2,
Mhm.
he's a champ, and he smokes weed. So I feel like I'd get in there and I'd be like starstruck and I'd be like, oh, I'm so excited. And then he'd let his guard down. And then
That's
You
when
know.
you're bow.
you know
Right?
that Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield are coming up with a line of cannabis gummies that are in the
Yeah.
shape of ears.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm not
Yeah,
kidding,
they-
Justin.
had
That's real?
a
I wish
pack
I
of 'em.
was.
Yeah.
It's real.
At High Rollers, they had a pack of them.
So
or something like
Cannabis in
that.
sports is like has been a hot button topic, especially for our industry and the entertainment side of sports. But fighting and any type of like in the ring style of fighting, besides I think boxing, has actually been like the first to really accept the players' cannabis use or the fighters' cannabis use, right?
We, from what it seems like, and that's because, or what I would assume that's because, is fighters we get hit a lot. Like they get hit a lot, and sometimes they don't want to get strung out on pills because I mean, most fighters are coming from real humble beginnings and real um they saw they saw shit. So it's like, oh, okay, we know not to do that, but we're gonna smoke some weed. Like, fuck that,
Yeah,
why
I don't
not?
think they smoke before they fight though, because I don't know a single
Well,
pothead
that
that
brings
goes
up
and
the
gets in a
question,
fight.
like
That's what
what's the
elevated grandpa's
problem?
is.
What's the problem with, smoking if you want to before doing athletics? Is it an enhancement drug? I guess that's a question. And that's a real
No, no.
question.
So
No?
I would not say that it is. I
Hmm.
would say that all it does for me personally is get me more focused and into the zone. It helps me focus on the movements that my body's making, as well as the movements that my opponent is doing, the timing of which I want to do it.
You can do
Um,
all that by smoking cannabis before a fight.
yeah, I can get really focused into. That's why I
I always
smoke before
thought
I
it'd
fight
be
all the time.
after. I thought it'd be like
Yeah,
the fight happens, you're in pain, because that adrenaline rush keeps that pain from really taking full effect into you mentally. You don't really feel
yeah.
much until after. And then you medicate with cannabis to make some of that just, because you're all charged up and like testosterone, like fighting. And then you come back down to center by smoking some weed and it helps with your relaxation, your pain. But you're talking about like pre-game weed smoking and
Pre-game.
then fighting someone. I just don't know
Yeah.
how you'd get the charge, the anger, the
Well,
excitement.
that's exactly
Well, that's
what
the
the
thing. You
Olympics
don't.
committee is afraid of. That's they permit cannabis now for Olympic athletes,
Do they?
but
Because I'm
but
pretty
at
sure that one
certain
girl
levels. But at certain levels. And so they're okay with you doing it for recovery, for example, but they're not okay with you doing it while you're actively competing because
got it.
they
Yeah.
Okay,
they
after,
say they say it's going to enhance your performance potentially.
which is what Joseph believes to be so because you think you
You said
fight
it, you
better
don't think, well, he's saying
unmedicated.
it kind of does, but kind of, you're not,
Yeah. Not enhancing in the terms of I'm pumped, I'm ready to like take on the world, but like in the sense of that you're more focused in
Your
what you're doing.
cognitive skills, not
Yes.
your actual practice. So I don't think like
Yeah.
when people say performance
Mhm.
enhancing drugs, they mean you're getting an unfair advantage by taking or using the substance because it's
Right,
giving you some sort of unfair advantage that
right.
someone else does not
Or
have.
that
But
everyone else would be
he's
forced to do it
saying,
if they wanted to keep up with you.
right, he's saying his advantage is actually just honing in his already like
Hmm.
pretty awesome skills into a really good fighter that is focused and driven. See, some people smoke weed and they get the opposite, where they're just like kind of flighty, kind of released, really not focused. That's like me. Yeah, I couldn't go into the ring when I was high because I'd be struggling to get back out, couldn't find the exit.
What about if
So
you
that
were,
is some people.
what if you're a long distance runner, for example? I mean, might it help you to just get in the zone and just be able to, very relatively speaking, easily do a marathon instead, in a record
I
time?
mean, I don't know about a record time, but I think it would allow you to control your breath a little bit more. I mean, it allows me to control my breath. I mean, that is something why I got into smoking is because I was smoking before I even started training, and I started smoking because of my disability, my breathing disability. It was to help me sleep at night, help open up my airways, and people are like, well, doesn't smoking do the opposite, do edibles? Well, yeah, I should definitely do edibles, but I enjoy smoking, so fuck everyone else.
Yeah,
But
who
it
cares?
does, Yeah, it does help open up the airways and help sleep a lot better at night. So that's what I ended up starting smoking for. And then when I got cancer, I found the medicinal side of it, as well as when I started training, I saw that, yes, I could be able to control my breaths a lot more. So when I am getting squished by someone that weighs 180 and I'm over here like 130 soaking wet,
That
it's
seems like a
like,
bad matchup by whoever hosted that event.
well, no, so
The
that
balance.
happens when you're training. So when you're training
Oh yeah.
like I do, you just roll with anyone.
Mhm.
Like Justin does.
Yeah, like I had to train with, Marvin Pope, Lee Calhoun, Tedrick.
And I'm talking about you roll with anyone.
Oh, right, right. Oh yeah, that.
Nailed it. You know what's funny? I just thought about this completely random, but like people that suffer from sleep apnea, if there was a way
Yeah.
to put cannabis in their CPAP machine on their
Mm.
mask,
Let's patent that.
I would like to volunteer as tribute to try that out.
I think that's
If
going
that's
a
a
little
thing.
too far. Yeah.
Let's just figure it out, because like if they have sleep apnea and they're like stopping the breathing and you're saying that it actually helps you, they're stopping breathing because they just don't breathe. You have to remember to breathe. And if you don't have to use the CPAP machine, but maybe
How
that could
does
No, I
help you.
do.
how
I
does that
do.
work at nighttime if you're not
Yeah,
remembering to breathe?
I use
CPAP
a
machine.
BiPAP. A
See?
BiPAP.
Oh,
Have you
BiPAP.
always had to do that since forever when you sleep?
Yeah. So I had a tracheotomy, and then I went from the tracheotomy to an iron lung, an actual portable iron lung
Hmm.
that you would typically see from polio
Right.
Yeah.
patients. But it was a lot smaller. I was a kid, so we had that. Then I went to an NEV 100, which is a turtle shell. Not, yeah, we called it a turtle shell because it's a big shell that would go over your chest to right below your belly button, your stomach. Um, and then from there, I went to a BiPAP.
Do you think if someone could go back, 20 years and see you in that turtle shell, they would ever, have guessed that you were going to be a champion jujitsu fighter?
I'm not a champion.
Well,
Hey,
you're a champion in
I
my
don't
eyes.
think you get
Well,
to be the judge of that. I think other people
uh,
get to be the judge.
But I mean
uh,
that alone, that's movie worthy, right?
no, no. So not. Oh,
No.
I did win gold. So I guess gold medalist, champ. Yeah, I guess I am. But over in Alabama with my buddy Aiden. However, yeah, no one would have thought that because um, a lot of doctors had told my parents like not even to let me get my trach out. I think the second individual in Michigan because I come from Michigan, so I think I was the second one in Michigan to
Michigan.
get yeah to get my tracheotomy out with my disability.
Mhm.
Um, then a lot of people said that I couldn't do this, that I really did test my body and push my body growing up. And then now I do jujitsu. And yeah, a lot of people are surprised, especially in the CCHS community, because I am the only one that does it. So I will sooner or later become the first black belt in the world with CCHS, and it will be under Hobson Mora.
That's awesome. That's a really
Right
good
now,
story.
and to answer your question from earlier, that I know it kept getting cut off, Justin, but I'm a purple belt.
Ah,
Oh,
and
I didn't hear that part.
black belt is next.
No, brown belt's next.
Okay,
Then
brown,
black.
purple, brown, and then
Then black.
eventually it could be red, right? That's like the grand or
Yeah, that
or
will be very years, like when I'm older, much older. And my professor will actually, mm, if I'm not speaking out of context, I might be, but he will be the youngest coral belt
oh, he will actually be
in the
coral.
jujitsu. My professor will be.
Not too
He
many
will be
coral
one of
belts,
the
right?
What's a
youngest.
coral belt?
No, um, it's right after black. It's just basically it goes red, black. Oh, so he will be red. Oh fuck, I can't remember.
I thought
It's
it was
okay.
black, red, coral.
I'm impressed with all of this.
Black,
Yeah,
red,
it's
coral.
red. Yeah, it is.
Coral's like the shit. Like there's only a few corals in the world, I think.
Correct.
Yeah. And you don't
Correct.
want to fight them.
No,
No. Well,
no, I'd
I
much rather
mean,
fight Einstein than the coral bill.
Yeah, Einstein, low hanging fruit, you know. Fight
But give
someone
me Minute
slow.
Bull. Give me Minute Bull.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
That's a
this
challenge.
fake
I'm sending out
basketball
an
player, he's
official
never going to
challenge.
stop. Joseph, he's never going to stop talking about this faux basketball player he just made up, fake name. Well, I am very
all right.
impressed with everything that you've done. I think it's phenomenal. Everyone needs to check out the highly recommended. Tell us a little bit about where they can find you, what you're doing next. Go ahead and do your plugs to your social media. Yeah.
All right,
Talk
thank you.
about
So,
where to find you.
you can find you can join the highly recommended newsletter and everything at the highlyrecommended.org. All one word, the highly recommended. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram is the highly recommended underscore. Because someone beat me to the punch. The next thing that we're going to be doing, that I'm going to be doing, is Elevated Grapplers 2.0. I do believe I have a location locked in, but this is going to be a more smaller private venue. So it's going to be a limited seating and everything. Then I am working on the next interview on my Jiu-Jitsu edition. Hopefully it will be Ronaldo Jacare. But I am working on it, so can't say it will be or won't be. But I just did the interview with Jeff Glover this past weekend, and I will be publishing the interview with Jiu-Jitsu legend, 1FC VP, and Checkmat founder Leo Vieira. That will be published sometime in the coming weeks.
Wow. You got a lot going on. I mean, very impressed with everything that you've done. I love the fact that you're a medicated, survivor, cancer survivor, just life survivor, like so many different hurdles were thrown your way and you were like, I'm going to show you what I think of this hurdle. And then Roundhouse kicked it in the face.
Yeah,
So
I like your terminology.
Thank you. I think I went way back to Chuck Norris instead of Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
There's nobody roundhouse kicks anymore, but I think I'm going to bring it back. Thank you again for joining us. I'm really glad that we were able to get this perspective from you, because being the CEO of your company and then also going through all these amazingly difficult trials and tribulations in your life, it's very impressive to see how positive and uplifting you are. And when you talk about jujitsu, you obviously, oh my God, I nailed it again. You obviously are very passionate about it and very disciplined. And I think that's phenomenal. So I would never want to fight you in the ring with
No,
Justin and this big basketball player. But thank you again for joining us, and you're welcome back anytime. We would love to host you. Maybe we could do a fight on the show. Maybe you could fight.
Well, I was just
Justin.
about to say, maybe do a collab and have you guys, if you guys have any questions for actual UFC fighters, because one of our fighter Steve Kozlow, who just won the Elevated Grapplers that we had, he has his UFC debut coming up at UFC 282.
Well, he is more than welcome.
Never wanted to.
Just go ahead and just make that connection. Tell them that the marijuana, we got a global reach. We got a bunch of listeners all over the world. And I think hearing your perspective will be great. And being able to ask a fighter some really uncomfortable questions would be great for me, like personally, professionally.
Yeah, we'd love to put him on the spot. We'd love it.
Yeah.
Where in Michigan
sure
are you
won't
from,
mind
by the way, Joseph?
Oh, I'm from Flint.
Oh, Flint,
Michigan. But he resides out of Tampa now, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Tampa, St. Pete.
Justin, you look very warm, by the way. Okay, we got to sign off for the day. We hit our time.
By the way, I was born in Detroit, Motown.
We don't care. Okay,
Nice.
actually,
He does. He's from Michigan. It's
Michigan.
like a thing. You're like, you show
is.
people. You're like, I'm from here.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
I'm
I
right
flew
here.
into
He's right
here. I flew into Detroit and then I had to drive down to Litchfield, Michigan, which had the fanciest restaurant in all of Litchfield, which was an Applebee's. Yeah.
People,
So they had
I
nothing.
I
Two
was
for
a
22, y'all. 2 for
I was a
22.
Spartan before I was a Gator.
Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, never mind, bro. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
Done
not cool with Justin no more.
and seen. Look how you just exploited our guest. Cynthia Brewer signing off for the Marijuana Mind, guys. We will talk to you next week. And
Keep it lean, keeping it green as always.
Dr. J. Nasty Davis.
Signing out. Talk to you next week. Thank you again for joining us. That was great.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you
Cynthia.
very much. Yeah.
Just
I
call
wanted
her
to stay
the
short for 1 second.
humdinger of a host.
I will
Humdinger.
not.
Oh, she's
Cynthia